everybody, I'm Genevieve from SMK PUTRAJAYA PRESINT 11-1, and first of all, I'd like to say I hope all of you are staying safe and healthy out there. So without further ado, I'm so glad you'll be able to join me as I tell you about my wonderful story, The Silent Patient by Michaelides. So this story is told from two perspectives. And we have a psychologist named Theo who applied for a job at this grove just so he could treat this one patient, which to me is already a little bit suspicious. And then we get introduced to the said patient Theo's been dying to treat, which is Alyssa Berenson. Alyssa Berenson used to be this famous artist who expressed herself through her paintings, and her husband Gabriel was a famous photographer. Until he became known not for his works, but for what Alyssa did. 5 years ago, Alyssa was arrested when the police found her standing next to her dead husband's body, being tied to a chair, looking as if he got shot in the face, and ever since then, Alyssa never talked. Now, what I find very interesting is that it was said that the most recent painting Alyssa did right after the incident was somewhat related to Greek mythology. And coincidentally, the author's father is from Greek. So I did a little bit of digging and I found out that Michaelides used to be a psychologist in his early years too. Later on, I also found out that it's not uncommon for men in Greek mythology to value pride. Which brings us to question, did Alyssa really kill her husband because of jealousy? I beg to differ. The most prominent speculation was that Alyssa was mad, like she was sick in the head, because what other reason could there be to tie her husband to a chair and shoot him in the face? This 325-page thriller/mystery book had me holding my breath the whole time because of how the author portrays each and every character as suspicious, especially Theo's wife, Kathy. And let me tell you why. So in the first part of the book, they explained that Theo went through a very harsh childhood. The way he was raised was not completely right, and his environment was not that friendly. So basically, he just grew up into this depressed grown man trying to help another depressed grown woman. But then Kathy comes in and just makes a whole 360-degree turn to his positive side. She just turns him into someone nice and positive and kind, and I get it. I do not have any issue with how love changes you, but what I do have an issue is how Theo's dialogue keeps getting repetitive. I cannot tell you how many times he's been saying that Kathy is the main point in his life, but then again, she is a side character, and she's not my favorite. On one hand, you see Theo walking down the memory lane with Alyssa, urging her to remember, helping her through her therapy sessions, but it just still felt dull. Alyssa didn't look like she was willing to talk, and Theo wasn't that much help either. On the other hand, we get to piece little fragments of Alyssa's seemingly perfect life before the incident. And you know what I find extremely hilarious? How Theo juggles between being a psychologist and a part-time detective, where he just calls up Alyssa's family members and starts questioning them. Isn't that a violation of privacy? Theo would go around to all these side characters asking them a bunch of questions about Alyssa. Not only these characters either hated Alyssa or Gabriel or both of them, they would openly admit it to this guy they just met. And you just cannot help but second guess every single character. Another fact that just puts me off when I read this book is that the security there is terrible. I'm no security manager, but having just 2 guards guarding a cell that consists of a murderer that is already convicted of their crime is a little too trusting. And if there's one thing that I learned from this book is that do not underestimate the quiet kid. And the ending had me reeling. I kid you not, I did not expect the ending, and I don't think Alyssa expected it either. I know Alyssa is going to have to speak eventually, but the build-up to her actually speaking was quite rushed. I assumed it was going to be this big eventful moment where history changes and they finally found out who the killer is, but she just speaks, as if she didn't go mute for 5 whole years. Anyways, I think we've reached the end of this book review, and if you're more on the slow burn side of reading a book, then I recommend this book 100%. That's all from me. Thank you so much for watching.